What's going on, everybody? So today, what I want to talk about was I was actually watching this video this morning, and I never saw this guy before, but I think I'm gonna start watching him. I watch a lot of different stuff. This guy seems really cool. Seems like he knows what he's talking about. Let's see. His name is American Thor, and he was in the military. And what this episode was about is he's talking about this fake ass $18,000 alpha male boot camp. And one thing he said in here, something that I've been thinking about, I actually talked to my son about. So I just wanted to, basically give my opinion on what makes someone an alpha male because, what he was saying was how a lot of men, especially young men nowadays, I guess they're trying to be traditional. They figure you have to be a traditional man in order to be manly, or you got to be a certain way in order to be manly. And I blame douchebags like fucking uh, Andrew Tate and fucking Liber King and some of these other fucking influencers. A lot of these young men, in my day, we didn't see clown, we didn't have YouTube and really internet like that. Like I tell people all the time, like internet was out, but when I was younger, well, at least, where I grew up, I didn't grow up with money. Maybe people with money was different. But most people I know didn't have computers in their house at all. And if you did, it was one computer and you had dial-up internet, which would take like 2 years just to bring up one picture. So you definitely wasn't like watching videos and stuff. You know what I mean? Internet was out, but it was different. Just like cell phones have been out, for a long time, but people didn't have them. Growing up, uh, I was a teenager before I got a pager. Shut up! But I gotta tell y'all one more goddamn time. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Uh, so, all right, what is alpha male? Okay, because these clowns are like getting yelled at, put in water, and all this shit. I think the whole thing. I agree with this dude. The whole thing, and that's probably why I think he said it got shut down. The whole thing was just a shit show. Um, but if you do something like that, like a boot camp type thing, it's not going to make you an alpha. If you're an alpha, I think to me an alpha, it's just a personality. Like it's just you either are or you're not. And if you're not, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what people have to understand. You have to start feeling good about yourself. Be confident in who you are. Maybe you're not this big, strong, tough man. That's not what makes you a man. I don't want to be like, oh, do you have a penis? That makes you a man. But, if you're a fucking dude, you're a fucking dude. You just know you're a fucking dude. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. It's not anything that you do that's going to make you that way. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's just a personality. I don't think it's something that you can really teach. I'm not trying to like brag on myself or nothing like that, but like one time, I seen some old people, whatever. Like we were driving, and me and my girl was driving. I seen them broke down on the road. I didn't want them to get hit, so I jumped out and start, push the car off the side, down the road or whatever, so that way they were good. Um, one time I was with my girl, the car, the engine caught on fire or whatever. So I had her get out the car and start putting the fire out. I've given people a Heimlich maneuver before. It's just, to me, being alpha is just taking charge, taking the lead. And it's just something that some people have. And it's not a man thing. Like people think that only men can be alphas. That's not true. A woman can be an alpha too. It's not a sex thing. It's like I said, it just means taking the lead. That's literally all an alpha is. It's just the head, the top. That's it. That's the definition of the word. Now, so you can be a man and not be an alpha, and you can be an alpha and not be a man. The two words are not, but you can also be an alpha man. You know what I mean? So I would say, I guess if you want to become an alpha, um, like I said, take charge. If that's not who you are, but you want to become that, just start doing that. Like you'll feel uneasy about it, but I do feel like people can train themselves to do shit. When I was younger, I trained the wrong ways, bad ways, but I trained myself, not to feel bad for people and other certain things, so that way I would be able to, survive and do what I had to do. You know what I mean? Like, so I do think you can kind of train yourself to be a certain way. But I feel like if it's not naturally in you, like nowadays, I understand. Back in the day, you had to be that way. You know what I mean? Like in prison, you had to kind of be that way. You know what I mean? Like in certain situations, you had to be that way. You know, when I was in school and shit, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna be fucked with. So it's either you fuck with people or you get fucked with. Eh, I'm not gonna say you fuck with people. You don't let people fuck with you. That's it. You don't have to fuck with people. That's something else that people don't understand. Is being an alpha doesn't mean you run around beating your chest. Most of the time, the motherfuckers that run around talking the most shit, when they actually get confronted by a real person, they back the fuck down. That's a bravado. They're trying to do that so people won't fuck with them, but they don't understand that that is going to draw out the wrong one. That's why I don't handle it myself because I already know from experience. I told people before. I'm like, I ignore that shit because they're going to do it to the wrong motherfucker and they're going to get their shit split. And then people are going to be looking like, oh, I can't believe they got their shit. You know, they got this happened. You know, it was all over this. It was, you know, all they did was this. You know, America, free speech, this and that. They fucked with the wrong one. They said the wrong thing to the wrong person. Fuck around and find out. Straight up. But anyways, back to be, you know, what I was saying about being an alpha and shit. Like I said, all that means is taking charge. So if you want to be a take charge motherfucker, then be a take charge motherfucker. You know, when shit happens, if there's if a building's on fire, do what you can to help out. You know what I mean? Like, don't kill yourself. I'm not saying being an alpha means you got to go on a suicide mission. Be smart about that shit. But if you can get in there and help someone or, you know, grab a hose or something, just do something. Don't just stand there like a bitch, like, oh. Now, if you do want to stand there like a bitch, there's nothing wrong with that. Just admit that. That's the one thing that people don't understand. There's nothing wrong with anyone in this world as long as you admit it. Like, I don't even care. Like, racists don't even bother me. The racist people that bother me is the ones who act like they're not racist. If you racist, own that shit. You don't have to like me as long as you respect me. That's what people don't understand. In prison, there's all kinds of people. You have black people who don't like white. A lot of black people who don't like white people. You have white people who don't like black people. You have straight up fucking, you know, certain prisons you're going to have ABs and, you know, dirty white boys, whoever, you know, you're going to have white gangs that's all about only being white, you know, and you definitely have fucking Hispanic gangs and shit like that in a lot of prisons that are all about only liking Hispanics and shit, you know what I mean? But the thing is unless you want an all-out war, you show respect to each other. Again, we don't have to sit down. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't got fucking, you know, break bread, none of that shit. Like, you do you and I do me. Just respect me. That's where people fuck up. You know, I can't remember who it was. Somebody I was watching the other day. I think it was Larry. I think it was him. I can't remember. I watched so many people and shit. I really fuck with him too. What's his name? Larry Lawton, or whatever the dude used to be a fucking jewel thief or whatever. He is a hardcore motherfucking fed, you know, that's the type of shit I'm glad I never got involved in. I did my little shit, came home, and never want to do nothing again. That's another thing I'll tell fucking, not just men out there, but people in general. Is be an alpha, but don't get your ass locked up trying to. And you don't have to be an alpha, man. Just do you. That's what I'm saying. Back in the day, I could understand like certain eras. Like if I was born in the Viking era, I'd be fucking fighting all the time. You know what I mean? I have a sword, fucking axe. I'd be going at that shit. You know, you die, you die. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just like the other day I was watching a prison joint, and the motherfuckers were refusing to give up their tray. So they got pepper sprayed and their tray got taken. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't do that shit. Like, that's one thing. When I was in prison, that's one thing I didn't do. I'm not bucking the guards. That's a no-lose situation. I'm not a fucking idiot. Well, I guess I am an idiot because I ended up in there, but I'm not that much of an idiot. Like, if they say come out your cell, you're coming out your cell. I don't give a fuck who you are. You could be the baddest, killer, hardest motherfucker, toughest, lift 1,000 goddamn weights. They're coming in that bitch. They're going to stun you. They're going to gas you. There's going to be like 9 of them motherfuckers. They're going to have riot shields. Like one prisoner said, he was like, yeah, if I had a weapon, I would have, or someone said something about a weapon. I think but they were like, even if they had a weapon, there's not shit they can do. There's not. Even if you have a knife, you're getting fucked up. I promise you. When they do a cell extraction, you're coming out the cell. So why go through all that? But then I saw that they were part of a gang and it was a whole thing. And in that situation, I would get pepper sprayed, get my ass whooped, whatever it was, because you have to. You know what I'm saying? Like your crew, your people's doing that shit. Even if I'm not part of a gang, if I'm on a cell block and we're all like bucking the system or something, and we're doing something, I'm going to do it too. Like I know I'm going to get fucked up. Now I'll tell you this: as soon as I get pepper sprayed, I'm going down. I'm not going to be one of them motherfuckers you see that's like still fighting, and because the only reason I'm doing it is because that's what you have to do. Just like if I'm in prison and a motherfucker, and I'm sitting there watching TV and a motherfucker turned the TV off, obviously not my TV, my little black and white. Well, I don't know nowadays, this 20 years ago, whenever I was locked up, they probably got all flat screens, all kinds of shit. But anyways, my point was, if you're sitting there watching the TV out in the fucking day room and somebody comes up and just changes the channel, I'm fighting. Do I think that is something to fight over? Like, is someone changing the channel on me something that I should, fight over? Possibly get more time. This dude could get the better of me. He could have a knife. I could die. What if I have a knife? Like, all types of shit could go wrong when you get in a fight. And I told my son that too. I'm like, you could hit someone, they could fall down, hit their head and die, and now you're doing 5 years or more for fucking involuntary manslaughter or something. I say, you never know how a situation is going to go. Always think, what's the worst thing that can happen, and is it worth it? So on the streets, if somebody did something like that, no, I let that shit go. It's not that big of a deal. I'll probably never see that person again in most situations. Now, if you're part of a gang or something, obviously, it's a whole different story. But your average citizen, your average person, if something like that happens, unless you're, mentally unwell and you just can't let it go. I've met people like that too. But if you are a regular citizen and someone does something like that, don't say nothing. Don't do nothing. Just let that shit go. It's not worth it. Because again, if you say something, even if you don't physically attack them, you say something, even though you're in the right because they did something disrespectful to begin with. And I'll get back to that in a minute. That's the whole reason why I'm going to fight them in prison, because it's disrespectful. That's what a lot of motherfuckers on the street don't understand. But anyways, let this shit go on the streets. You're not going to see that person again. But in prison, oh yeah, we fighting right away. Right there. Because you disrespected me. Like, you didn't say, hey, you watching this? Hey, can I change this? Nothing. Basically, what you did was you was like, fuck me. I'm going to change the channel to what I want to watch. Like, fuck this nigga here. You know what I mean? That shit ain't going to fly. No. I'm going to get up and we're going at it. Like, right then. And I guess I'm going to the hole. You know what I mean? Like, but anyways, this whole video is supposed to be about alpha males and shit. So again, I'm not the toughest motherfucker in the world. I know some people are going to be on here and be like, who the fuck are you to give advice on anything? I'm nobody. All my videos are just my opinion. You can hate it, agree with it, disagree with it. I don't give a fuck. I'm just telling you how the fuck I feel. And that's it. Simple as that. But I would, and not just me, but I've also seen a lot of fucking, I've been around a lot of people, man. I'm 46 years old. I've been around, okay? Like I said, I've been in prison. I've been on the streets. I've been in the hood. I've been in nice areas. I've been I haven't traveled the world. Been to a couple different states. There's some states I've told you before. There's some states I'm just not going to, man. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about it being safe, not being racist. Racism don't exist and all this shit. Look, and it goes both ways. If I was a white boy, there's certain neighborhoods I'm not going in, yo. And I mean, there's certain Hispanic neighborhood like areas and shit that I'm not going in because, well, some people think I'm Hispanic. But then once the motherfuckers start speaking Spanish, and I'm like, yo, what the? I'm not Hispanic, or don't speak that shit to me. They might take that shit personal. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, every place ain't for everybody. You know what I mean? So, me personally, I'm not going to certain spots. I'm not going to Texas. Shit. I don't even go to Florida no more. I used to because it's nice down there. But now if I'll go through Florida and go to Key West. But even going to like Ever DeSantos, whoever the fuck that motherfucker is, man, I don't even want to fuck with it, man. Like Florida's off the chain. And I'm sure they don't want me there anyway. So it's like a mutual thing. The places I don't want to go, they don't want me there. Like I seen on the one video I was watching on YouTube, they talking about a white only. Now I don't know, man. It's a slippery slope. You know what I mean? Because it's like I saw the video in this white only neighborhood or community or whatever it was, and I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, y'all can have that town for real. Like, I don't want to live there, so why the fuck do I care? You know what I mean? That's most of the time that's how I feel about politics. I just don't give a fuck because I'm like, shit, none of them motherfuckers care about me. So why the fuck should I care? And I be paying, like, I work every job I've had since I've been fucking 16 years old. It just seems like I get taxed. Like, I don't even know. I don't break that shit down into percentages. I just know that I'm going to get taxed, and that's how it is. And everything else, you know, that's the only dealings I have with the government. You know what I mean? Like, me personally, you know, I've been in households or whatever where people gotten like government assistance and shit like that. Mom, you know, at the end of her life, you know, had Medicaid and shit. But me personally, I've never had anything. No, I've never even applied to Medicaid. I probably should have applied to a couple like government assistance things at some points just to help out, but I don't know, man. I'm a motherfucking survivor. I'm gonna survive. Like even if I don't have much, I'll be all right. You know what I mean? That's one thing about being locked up taught me. And you gotta remember, you know, I was still living with my mom when I got locked up. They raided my mom's house. She actually got kicked off. She was on Section 8. She got kicked off of Section 8 because of them raiding the house, kicking the door in and shit. Because I got locked up when I was 20. I was locked up in 2024. 20, from the age of 20 to the age of 24. So one thing I learned about, you know, I learned a lot of shit being locked up. But I'm getting way off the subject. You know, I'll make another video sometime talking about shit that I learned while being locked up, because this video is about being an alpha male, and I want to stick to the subject. As y'all know, with my new channel, Straight Up the Rip, none of my shit is ever like written down. If motherfuckers watch my shit, they watch it. If they don't, they don't. I'm just basically like making blogs and shit and just doing my thing. For a while there, I was making videos and trying to like do it to make money and all that good shit. But I was just like, you know, I work, I have eBay, and I take care of my house, kids, animals. I got fucking 5 cats, 2 dogs. Hey, most of them got dumped on me, but I'm not taking no more goddamn animals, yo. I'm done. Motherfuckers be like, yo, I'm gonna give this cat to the pound or whatever because I don't want him no more because this happened, and then I end up taking the motherfucker, and now I'm stuck with all these damn animals and had to take care of them, having 3 litter pans. You know, all damn spend money on damn dog food, cat litter. You know what I mean? Like, but I ain't complaining. You know what I mean? Because anything I do out here is better than being locked up. You know, I say this shit all the time, like for real. And that's, you know, but anyways, again, I digress. Alpha male. So, especially the young men out here, I'm talking to you, okay? If you want to be an alpha male, just put yourself out there and start taking charge. That's all it is. Now, if you want to toughen yourself up, mothers out there who want to send their kids or whatever, the best thing to do if you want to toughen yourself up is join like a sport, like a recognized sport. You know, football helped me. I played all sports, but I really like football. And I think football is a good sport because it's for everybody. If you're a fat kid, you could be a lineman. if you're a skinny kid, you can be a wide receiver. If you're a white kid, you can be a quarterback. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm playing, man. They got plenty of black quarterbacks. But if you're tall, you can be a quarterback. Definitely got to be tall to be a quarterback because you got to be able to see over top of the lineman and shit. But yeah, like I was about to say, if you're a foreigner, you could be a kicker. You know what I mean? But nah, they got plenty of fucking people here. Most times soccer players. But if you if you're a little guy and you can't do nothing else, learn to kick the ball. You can be a kicker. They never get hit. They get hit and it's a big ass penalty. So, but anyways, if you want to toughen up, and not only would you toughen up by joining a sport, but depending on the sport, but most sports you're going to learn how to like. I always think sports are great for kids, not just boys, girls too. Because not only are you going to learn, and you do learn alpha stuff, like you're going to learn how to not just work as a team, but somebody's got to be the lead on the team. Why not you? Take charge on the team. There's got to be someone who's like the team captain, you know what I mean? And then eventually you'll be named team captain, so be the alpha there. Like there's an alpha there. And like you look at a football team, okay? Look at alpha this way. You look at a football team. You have your Ray Lewises. You have your players who are out there. They're more vocal. Then you have your other players who are more laid back. They're not, the alphas. Are you trying to say they're pussies or are they weak or anything? No, they're all tough guys. They're just not as boisterous as some of the other guys. They might not be the leader type, the take charge type. But that doesn't mean they're not tough. Stop thinking just because you're not an alpha that you're not tough. You can be tough and not be an alpha. Just like you can, you can be an alpha and not be tough as long as motherfuckers think you're tough. If motherfuckers are following you, you're the alpha. If you're the leader, you're the alpha. You know what I mean? You might not be the toughest motherfucker. You might just be the smartest motherfucker and how to take care of people who oppose you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Look, all I'm saying is this, okay? If you want to be more, and again, with sports, okay? I think sports are really good because not only are you going to learn how to be more of an alpha, you're going to be tougher because it's going to toughen you up. You're going to be running. That's the type of shit that toughens you up. Just fucking work out. Go out there and lift some goddamn weights. Stop staying inside. That's one of the biggest differences. One thing I would say that back in the day, and I understand it, don't get me wrong, but back in the day that we did a lot more than they don't do now, that definitely will make you tougher and shit, is get outside. When I was younger, we played outside all day, every day. We didn't have the technology and stuff now, and I get it. When my kids were younger, I didn't really want them outside too much neither unless I was outside with them because crazy shit happens. The crazy thing is crazy shit has always been happening. Because people are like, oh, it's so crazy now. It was crazy back then. We just didn't know about it. Like, in my day, at least we had the news, but the news, like, came on at a certain time. It wasn't like something happens and it pops up on YouTube within an hour. The news would come on and say 11 o'clock at night. So something happened at, sometimes a special alert bulletin. But that would be only if, like, the president got killed or, something crazy. OJ's chase, shit like that. I think I was in school or something, and we were watching that shit on TV, live on TV. So certain shit like that don't come at you. But otherwise, you had to kind of wait till a certain time to watch it. It was like watching movies and shit. We didn't have no Netflix or none of that shit. If you wanted to watch a movie that came on Fox at 8 o'clock, you had to wait until 8 o'clock. We had a TV guide. You'd look at the TV guide and be like, okay. But anyways, I'm getting off the subject again. I keep getting away from the subject. Alpha. Or I think dudes just want to be tougher, man. Just toughen yourself up, man. That's it. Like, I love video games like the next person, but get out there. Start playing some sports. Run through the goddamn woods. Take an axe or something and go out there and hack some, go camping. You know what I mean? Go be rugged. I love camping. And when I say camping, I'm not talking about camping like my ex-wife used to camp in a cabin or something. I'm not just talking about going out, no. Or in an RV or no. To me, growing up, we used to camp, and even now, like as an adult or whatever, when I go camping, I'm going. I've even camped without a tent, but I'll give you a tent. You can take a tent. That's fine. Bugs, rain, whatever. Me personally, like I said, I'll sleep straight on the ground or take a sleeping bag, sleep on the ground. But take a tent, that's fine. Nothing more than a tent. No pop-ups, no campers, no cabins, nothing like that. Take a tent and just go out there, go chop your own wood. Don't bring no wood. You got to find a place that'll let you chop wood, you know what I mean? Just go out there and just rough that shit for a couple of days, you know what I mean? That'll toughen you up. I mean, there's ways to toughen you up besides doing some dumbass boot camp shit or following some dumbass, some of these goddamn influencers on YouTube who are not really tough guys. And any of these tough guys are telling you to be tough, that you gotta like abuse anyone. A lot of them's like abusing women and shit. That shit ain't cool, man. That's the other thing. And abusing anyone. It's not just women. Like people are like, oh, equal opportunity, shit like that. But you shouldn't be abusing anyone. You shouldn't be hurting anyone. Whether it's a woman, a man, whoever. You know what I'm saying? That's the other thing too. Like, but like I've told my son, okay, when I was younger, what got me on the track of robbing stores started with robbing people. And what got me on the track of robbing people was one day when I was walking through school, I seen this kid get robbed. He got strong armed. Okay, now I don't know if people know what strong arm is, but basically strong arm means that you get robbed with no weapon. Okay, so he got robbed by these two kids, and I'm like, and then he goes and he runs to his peoples, right, his boys. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm about to see a fight. You know what I mean? Let's go. So he's like, he tells his friends, and they're like laughing and like this shit's a game. I'm like, what the fuck is this? So I started thinking about it. I contemplated. I'm like, because I was on Section 8. So I was from Baltimore City. I'm from the hood. This is when I moved out to the suburbs, okay? And I'm not going to even bring up no race. I'm just going to say that these kids had money. So to me, where I'm from, you fight, win or lose. Like, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I'm looking, I'm like, I don't understand. And then not only did they not fight, like I understand you're scared, you don't fight, but they seem like happy. Like he was happy that it happened to him. So I'm like, okay, let me try to understand the psychology of this. So I started thinking about like, you know what? I think to them it was like an adventure. Now, okay. Now I'm grown. Taking something from someone is wrong. Period. Let me put that out there. If it doesn't belong to you, don't touch it. Period. But remember, I was a teenager, okay? So this is teenager thinking, okay? So I'm thinking to myself, like, as long as they don't get hurt, like as long as they don't get physically hurt, to them it was an adventure. Like, that's why he ain't liked it, because it was like, this is cool, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I got robbed. This is a story I can tell, So from that day on, I just started strong arming motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Like I just would take their shit. And then when I got out of school, it was like I switched over to stores. I don't know, but anyways, my point of bringing that up was what I always tell my son, because I've always told my kids since they were younger, I've never lied about anything, so they know that I was locked up. They know how long I've been locked up. I lie to people, but I only lie to people because, like, I'm gonna lie to the police. Like, but I mean, I don't really, I don't really break the law anymore. I don't have a license, so that is kind of breaking the law. But here in North Carolina, if you don't have a license, you get pulled over. They just give you a ticket and then they let you drive away. And I'll be honest with you, I drive better now that I don't have a license than I did when I had a license. Because when I had a license, I was like, okay, like worst case scenario, I get pulled over, I get a ticket, I just pay the ticket. Now, Even though I know that they're probably going to just let me drive away, I'd rather not deal with the situation since I don't have a license. So now I drive the speed limit. I don't speed. I don't run red lights. I don't do nothing. I make sure when I come to a stop sign, I come to a complete stop, the whole nine. You know what I mean? But anyways, getting off subject again. Hey, the point that I was trying to make is I always tell my kids, that I looked at myself as not being a bully because I was taking stuff from people. Not that they weren't smaller and weaker than me. They just didn't have the heart to fight back. And where I came from, it was like, if you're not going to stand up, if you're going to let someone take your shit, then you deserve to have your shit taken. But now that I'm older and I look back on that, I'm like, why should anyone have to fight to keep their stuff? Like, seriously. And it was being a bully. There's more. You can be a bully without bullying people who are just, like, they might not have been physically weaker than me, but they were mentally weaker than me. That's still being a bully. So I was a bully, even though I tried to justify it to myself so that I would be okay doing it, because I knew that, that's why people use religion and stuff like that to commit crimes that they know they shouldn't be committing. Doing things that they know they shouldn't be doing, even if it's not a crime. If you're trying to justify it because you know that you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. So if you're justifying something to yourself, you probably shouldn't be doing whatever it is that you're trying to justify, because otherwise you wouldn't have to justify it. You could just straight up say it. Like, be proud of it. If you're not proud of it, something's wrong. But anyways, so like I told my son, my kids, period, why should anyone have to fight to keep their stuff? Like, for real. Like, and that's what I'm saying. This is 2026, man. This isn't the fucking Wild West. This isn't fucking Rome. We should be more civilized than that. People shouldn't be going around just doing what the fuck they want to do and just taking shit from people. Like, can't we be kind to each other? We're fucking human beings. We're all fucking human. Like, I don't give a fuck if you're a fucking KKK member. Again, we don't have to break bread. I don't like you, and I feel bad for you, because there's a lot of good people out there that you're not going to meet just because of your views. But okay, if you're a child molester, you should die. But outside, you're a rapist, you should die. But outside of certain people who do fucked up shit, and it's not because of who they are, it's because of what they did, that I feel like they should die. Let's get that straight. But outside of that, they're still human beings. You know what I mean? Like, you could be a KK, I disagree with you, I don't like you, but you're still a human being. That's what I don't understand. I don't even treat animals like that. Why do you think I have so many goddamn animals? Because I didn't want to see them out in the street. I didn't want to see them put down, killed, or whatever. Because they're living beings. Like, the same way that you feel pain is the same way they feel pain. And maybe it's because some people haven't felt enough pain in their life, haven't struggled enough. I don't know what it is. Maybe, the same way people have mental shit's going on in their head. So, and there's so many different type of mental problems. Like, so many different type of mental problems. Obviously, something's not going right if you're doing something that's not normal. But my point is, outside of that, I just don't understand why compassion is something. It's like, I don't understand the common sense. You've heard that saying. Why is it called common sense when it's not common? Most people don't have it. And I don't understand. I guess it's called common sense because the average person should have it. Just like the average person should have compassion. I hear the way people talk, especially on the internet, especially if you can't see their face. But nowadays, people don't even give a fuck if you see their face. They're like, oh, well, free speech, so what the fuck I want to say. It's like, yes, you can say what you want to say, and I've said this before about getting punched in the face, and everything has a consequence. But not just that, not just like physical consequence, or not just you getting fired or canceled, like people like to call it, or whatever it's called, but also just your how people see you. Like, do you not give a fuck how people see you? Like, you look like a clown. And your kids and the whole world can see you that way. And you can say all you want, like, oh no, I'm cool and I'm this and I'm that, but that don't make it true. I'm sorry, it don't. But anyways, I digress again. What I was talking about was alpha males. And then I started talking about motherfuckers had, you don't have to be going out there and fucking with people don't make you an alpha, okay? That was why I was talking about the whole taking shit from people and stuff like that, because that doesn't make you an alpha, okay? That made me a punk. I'm not proud of that. I tell my kids, don't do that. I'm more proud of like getting published, getting my poems published, when I was like 19 or 18 or something like that. That was a proud moment for me. My mom standing there looking at me, giving my speech and saying my poem and accepting an award, stuff like that. That was proud. A couple of years later, when my mom was visiting me at jail, that wasn't a proud moment for me. That was a shame moment for me. Like, oh man, I can't, have my grandmother write me letters and then she passed away before I could ever come home and show her that that's not who I was. So she died not knowing that I'm not this, terrible person, this terrible criminal. You know what I mean? She was, that's one thing I always, regret is that she didn't live long enough to see me, turn my life around. You know what I mean? But anyways, I digress again. We're talking about alpha males, okay? You want to be fucking tougher? Go join a sport. Like my son, he just joined some MMA joint. You know what I mean? Like, get out there, start boxing, start fighting, if you want to be tougher. You want to be an alpha? Just start leading. All alpha means is lead. So just start taking the fucking lead. Start taking the charge. I tell people this at work all the time. And I see it, with the young kids at work. They'll just sit there and they move slow and they don't want to learn anything. And it's like, you're not going to be an alpha doing that, man. You gotta, and that's what I'm saying, it's a personality thing. You either have it or you don't. I don't care if I'm at McDonald's. I don't care if I'm in prison. Like, wherever I'm at, I just have that type of personality where I'm going to get in there. I'm going to learn what it is, learn the situation. Normally, I'm quiet when I go into a new situation, whether it's a new job, when it was a new school, prison, like I said, whatever it is. I just sit back, I watch, see what people are doing, who's, what's what. But then you're going to get in there and you learn. And then once you know it, then you take charge. And it's like, look, this is how the shit go. You know what I mean? And if you're going to do that, you got to be prepared for whatever. Like I said, when a situation happens, you got to be prepared. When I was a bouncer and shit jumped off, guess what? I was fighting. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be ready. I remember when I was locked up, we was working the window, and if you worked the window, you had to make sure the motherfuckers were going. So you had to be like, yo, take your tray and go. And I remember this one dude was like, take your tray and go. Dude stuck his head through the window, like, who the fuck you talking to? Looked him up and down, gave one of those, like, you need to go to the bathroom and fight this nigga. You know what I mean? Like, and he didn't want to fight. It's like, man, get out the window. You can't work the window. You can't be in a position like that where you have to have some type of, like, if you're not going to be ready to go. And that's the thing. Like, people in the streets, they do this shit all the time. The biggest difference between being in the streets and being inside is on the streets, man, people just run wild, especially with their mouth. They just run wild because they know you can't touch them or you're going to jail, especially someone like me. Like, it's been 20 years, but I don't care. I told someone this the other day. I said, the police locked me up. I can see my record right now. Like, I can literally go on the internet and look up my charges and shit. You don't think they can? And you don't think they're going to look at that shit? I don't give a fuck how long it's been. You don't think they're going to look at that shit and be like, okay, this dude was locked up for armed robbery, did years in prison, and this other person never had any type of, like, problems or anything. Who do you think they're going to believe? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, no. Or even if I go in front of a judge, just a regular crime, he could easily be like, because they have that's what people don't understand. They're like, well, they can't bring that up. They might not say it, but they see it. And judges have a lot of leeway a lot of times. Like, you convicted on a crime, they can give you, say, 3 years, or they can give you 10 years. And if you have something on your record, which one do you think they're going to go closer towards? The more shit you have on your record, the closer to that 10 that you're going to get. They're going to be like, we're going to max this motherfucker out. But anyways, my whole point was, you want to be an alpha, take charge. You would be more tougher, manly, like they call it, then just fucking start join sports, start working out, toughen yourself up, man. That's all it is. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna get out of here. It's already 40 minutes. I don't even know how this video went so long. Talk to y'all later. Peace.